Hello guys, I mentioned in my last video that I'm not a fan of modules, and it's true. I never found that they sped up my game prep much at all. I got to read them beforehand and adapt them to the need of my game and to the party that I have. And as soon as the players start going off the rail, it's either we put the model aside and we go with the flow, which is my favorite approach, or we try to bring the player back on rail, hopefully in a way that they don't realize too much. Modules can be mined for maps and location to set your adventure, and maybe for characters or the general idea of an adventure, but you almost get that from the synopsis on the back. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of a dungeon crawl, not in the sense of a single interior location that the party will spend a considerable amount of time in. I find that those don't really make sense. If we take a dungeon to mean a self-contained place for an adventure, then yes, they can make sense, but those will usually be more limited in scope and design with purpose. Like a space station could be a dungeon. A modern sewer system could be a dungeon. Or if you get in a medieval city that's been taken over by some evil and there's a keep in the middle, well, the whole city is the dungeon. But just 60 rooms underground linked together with a labyrinth of long corridor. What is that? What is that location? Why was it built? And I know I can find answers to those questions, but only so many times before it becomes silly. If you don't care about silly, like that's good on you. But so I don't tend to buy modules. But you know what? I don't tend to buy much supplement at all. There are very few supplements that I find worthwhile. If I bought a game, the core book or books should have everything I need to run the game. And if I find something missing, I can probably homebrew it quickly. What do we find in a supplement outside of an adventure? New classes or race? I don't really care about those. If I play a D&D type game, I already find that there are too many races and classes from the get-go, and I prefer skill-based game. So what else? New spells? It's the same thing. There's already too much. And now if you got more and they're divided into multiple book, talk about slowing down the game. Even new monster, that can be cool. But again, it's something that is easily homebrewed, and just having like 10,000 variation of humanoid monster make the setting silly. I remember in the 90s, the splat books were the big thing. All kind of option for every class. Or for the World of Darkness, every clan or tribe had its book. And I got some, and other people I played with had some. And then we had a big pile of book for the game we're playing. And I found that they never really brought anything to the game, or more like the trade-off wasn't worth it. You also get a bunch of new rules and exception, and the whole thing become a mess. So, in my opinion, a game is usually better when run with core book only, and maybe some homebrew to make it to your taste. It's the whole like less is more. That being said, there are supplements that I like, and usually there are supplements that bring a game in a new setting or era. Like for Call of Cthulhu, they have the supplement of a Dark Age Cthulhu, and I thought it was a good supplement. Well, at least in theory. In practice, it's kind of trash, and the author used a C and BC instead of AD and BC. Anyway, and there's other issue in the book. Also, it would have been cooler if it was like a 15th or 16th century instead of a Dark Age. Anyway, but you see, like that takes the feel of a game and the rules of a game, and it transposes it in a time period that is different enough that it's worth another book. I wouldn't want a book for every decade, though. Even between the 1920s and the current day, the difference are not even really important enough to warrant a supplement. Like, I guess you could deal with the communication technology and how the cults and the ancient ones deal with that. But other than that, guns are guns and cars are cars, and we are in a industrialized society. So the core book is fine for both. So that's a good thing, right? Because I can save money on my RPG a bit. Hobby. Yeah, I guess. but I do like to buy games, game system. I like reading different game system and studying the rules, and I have an interest in game design, and RPGs are a very interesting challenge for game design because you can do so much in RPG. So how do you design rules that are simple enough to be handled without a computer, and how do you make them deep enough to cover what you can do in the game and to be engaging? And I always find interesting how various people solve that puzzle. And I also like to see how the mechanics can inform the feel of a game. So if you want to put out a book that I want to buy, make a new system and with cool and innovative mechanics. I do buy much less book nowadays because of I don't buy stuff from people who hate my people. But if you're watching this channel, I'm sure you're all right. So that's about what I wanted to talk about today. I'm not too sure why I wanted to talk about that. Maybe just to share the way I see things. How does that help you? Well, maybe you can rethink your buying habits. Do you really need those supplements? Do they really improve your game, or do they just create more noise compared to what is important? Or you're just buying all those books because you're a completionist? Or is it from your form of a retail therapy? Maybe it's something to consider. I'm not saying that you should stop, but sometimes it's good to reassess why we do stuff. Sometimes we just have been doing things for a long time, and maybe at some point it was the right thing to do, but now we just keep doing it because of a built up momentum. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good day and take care.